And I just want to ask you a question, and it's going to be maybe hard for you to answer, but do you believe that the report that was published accurately represents the thoughts, actions, and character of the people in this room sitting before you?
So two things. First, of course not. And I hope I've said that over and over again. No, I don't. I believe the report is largely historical. Largely historical first, and second, I appreciate the progress that's been made, or given that things, I don't believe things today are like they were in the past, which I think is good. And I don't think, I'll try and say it again, if the band were behaving as it were reflected in the report, then that group couldn't march and represent the university in this era. So I think, I wouldn't say, no, I don't believe that it reflects her accurately. Let me say something else too to make sure that I'm clear about this, just to make sure we have the same understanding. The process of the complaints that are filed lead to a certain very specified series of actions in a timeline specified to the day. So this kind of report filed has to go to this office, has to be investigated in this way, and has to lead to a report on this day. And the day the report is finished, it's then a public document. So we don't publish these things. There's a Freedom of Information Act that allows anybody who requests a document at a public institution to have that information released. So it's not, oh, we have this, we put it out. It's the investigation has a specified way that it goes forward, and the fruits of that investigation, whatever they are, become a public document. Just to make sure you know our position on that. So this was all, you guys, I'm sorry.
Well, why was the recording of John Waters-Yale and a student released the day after, if it wasn't, I mean, was that done, what was the purpose of that?
Those are all public records. All of our, all these things are public records.
But would the media find out about it unless, like, the complainant's parents told them that they had done an investigation?
The media request things like everything that we have in reference to this case. That's what they'll say. We'd like to have.
How did they know the case was going on, though? We never knew a case was going on.
Yeah. Let me say that the information in cases of this type are released to people other than the
university communities.
Yeah, there are people to whom the report is released outside the university community right from the very beginning. We have Freedom of Information Act requests that come just so you'll, on a regular basis for everything. For my records, for instance, everything that I do gets requested and looked at. And so we know that that is there and that that's coming. I will say sometimes we fight them on it. Actually, when we fight them on it, it's usually worse. And so when we have public records that they're interested in, we do what we can to get those records released. And it's a federal law, so we have a full-time office that releases records to the media.
But then why did they write a damning report that was so exaggerated and...
The media?
Taken out
no,
of
the
context
Glaros. Why did he write such an out-of-context damning report?
You're asking why the report itself was written as
yeah, if it's going to be a representation of the entire band.
A cultural assessment.
A cultural assessment.
Yeah.
Why was it...
I don't want to make a comment that I couldn't answer. I can say that...
David, I don't know how he could answer.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, somebody says, here's this. Mm-hmm. And we'll switch places for a minute. It was a bad evening for me when that landed on the desk. Mm-hmm. Because that's all. I'll just say that. But let me make sure I go back to the one thing that we've said over and over again. It was clear to me that the vast majority of all that stuff, which actually I wish I didn't know, was stuff from years gone by and wasn't reflective of you in the modern era.
The problem is it is reflecting on us in the public eye.
Well, reflecting, let me understand. I understand the fact that that reflection, that distinction